Hello, 1, 2.
Can you put my mic live?
Check, check.
All right. Didn't get mine. He can have a handheld. Richard? Just have a handheld mic.
Who's this guy?
This one is, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Well, very good morning. Welcome back. The panel will begin in just a couple of moments' time. If Vic Bagaria is here, please, can you join me at the back of the auditorium? Vic Bagaria of Savant Data Systems, join me at the back of the auditorium. Thanks very much indeed.
Test. Hello. Up.
So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome back. Coming up before lunch, we've got an exciting announcement about something that's going to be happening in Jeddah later next year, a Recon Forum. But before that, our panel discussion, Big Data, what it means to the retail industry. We've got a wonderful set of panelists who are going to be discussing this issue, and I do hope that you're going to be making contributions as well. So let me, without any further delay, welcome, first of all, our moderator this morning. Our moderator is an expert in big data and omni-channel retail, the chief executive of SafeRock, a retail analytics and strategy company. Our moderator has authored and co-authored research published in numerous publications. Academically, was recently invited to Penn State's Industry Advisory Board for Enterprise Systems. Much in demand as a speaker, indeed gave a keynote at the legendary South by Southwest event in Austin, Texas earlier this year. So we're delighted to have him as our moderator today. Please join me in welcoming Shah Karim. Shah, join us please. And also our panelists today, Ludmila Yamalova, a lawyer with Yamalova and Plevka, the managing partner and founder there. Vic Bagaria, the CEO stroke CVO of Savant Data Systems. We have Nick Kudas, the CEO of Isle Labs. And finally, Senior Vice President from MasterCard, Head of MasterCard Advisory, Mete Guni. Shah, I leave these people in your very capable hands. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much. So welcome to our discussion on big data and the retailer. I'm Shah Karim from SafeRock in New York, and I'm delighted to be here. And thanks to David McAdam and his excellent team for organizing the conference as beautifully as they all have. Let's give them a hand. And I will introduce our panelists in a moment. As an overview, for many years, almost every new shopping center built in the Gulf region did well. And malls delivered exceptional results in the past. For example, in the US, the ICSC and NCREIF data show that for 2014, overall NOI at US shopping centers was $16.79 and rising at a clip of 8.3% year over year. But now, things have changed, and we really have to get things right in order to achieve those results again. Now, the speakers earlier today, Robert Wallenantz, Tom McGee, and Tommy Wire, talked about things that have to change. And there are two megatrends to watch for. One is the convergence of online and physical store shopping, and two, changes in consumer behavior. And in this context, in terms of online, the US economy, for example, the sector that I know well, is $18.6 trillion, of which $4.2 trillion is retail, and $480 billion, or about 11%, is non-store retail. Now, the interesting thing is in 2015, last Thanksgiving, Black Friday weekend, there were, for the first time ever, there were more shoppers online than in store. 103 million people shopped online versus 102 million in store. In that period, 37% of transactions were online as compared to the normal share of about 13 to 14%. And it's predicted that this holiday season, 2016, up to 46% of transaction value could be online and about 46% in store. But physical stores are here to stay. And in a recent study of millennials, they found that 70% of shoppers opted to visit the store because touch and feel remain important, but 100% of them would want to preview the items online prior to going to the store. So the customer has to be at the heart of all decisions. And if we've learned anything, it's that it's risky business to take your eye off the customer and risky to think that the digital revolution won't affect you or your company. We have a panel of accomplished people, professionals here. Meta Gunay is regional head of MasterCard Advisors, which provides consultancy and services to financial institutions, retailers, and government institutions. Ludmila Yamalova is a legal expert for the Gulf region and is widely quoted in the industry and has her own radio show weekly. Nick Kudas is the co-founder of Isle Lab, which is a technology company for shopping center marketing and behavioral analytics. And Vic Bagaria, last but not least, is an experienced retailer and founder of Savant Data Systems. Okay. Mete, at MasterCard, you see a lot of data and how customers are behaving, right? Perhaps you could share with us some points on what you think retailers are worried about, what they see in the consumer data patterns.
Thank you, Shah. Well, I would like to give you some statistics about what's going on to be able to define the problem that we are facing today. Following up on the trends that you have mentioned, I think our biggest challenge is the decline in growth rates in terms of our sales. If we look at the data, year-to-date data for 2016, we see a significant fall in terms of growth rates. And comparing that number with 2014, it becomes more dramatic. In 2014, the growth was more than 20%. In 2015, there was a decrease of 4 or 5 points. But in 2016, year-to-date data shows that the growth is only in single-digit figures. So that's a major decline compared to where we were last year, and it's much bigger when we compare it with 2014. And in terms of international spending, tourists coming to UAE, it is an important revenue source for the country, for all the players in the industry. We also see a dramatic fall in their spending. And in fact, this year, there is a 6% decline in the spending of international tourists coming to UAE. Last year, the growth rate was more than 30%. So this is a second challenge that we are facing because they usually buy more, they buy luxurious items, and all these retailers are impacted from that. One of the items that you have mentioned was related to growth of digital. And if we analyze these numbers, still the penetration of e-commerce is low in this region. It's only 1.5% of total retail spending if you look at only card payments. Assuming that the cash on delivery has 50% share, still it will be only 3 to 4% of total retail spending. Comparing that with other countries, with other advanced countries like UK and US, where the share of e-commerce is much more than 10%, I think this is less of a threat for the industry today, but it is definitely coming. It is growing much faster than face-to-face transactions.
Thank you.
So in a nutshell, this is where we are with
Thank
the
you.
numbers.
Very insightful. Nick, perhaps you could give us share a little bit. You study consumer behavior. So in terms of the other next megatrend, you have any thoughts that you'd like to share, what you're seeing in the information about the region or generally?
Of course. Can you hear me? Yes. Yeah. So basically, changing consumer behavior is a multifaceted problem, right? So it has many different instances. It could be, for example, based on how people shop. Do they prefer to shop online, offline? Do they conduct some of these transactions in a combination? So that's something basically that we see definitely changing over the years. But one particular thing that I would like to focus on, which is a little bit more insightful and not usually talked about, is to focus specifically on the behavior of people inside a shopping center. So if you compare the trends on how people behave when they visit shopping centers over the last years, we notice that across certain demographic groups, the types of cross-shopping behavior, the stores that people go in and out in a unified journey are changing. So there is a shift in specific demographic groups on how people actually cross-shop. So that's one important thing that we see happening continuously. The second important thing that I would like to focus on is there is a very interesting trend that we observe in the length of the average shopping trip. So when people come to the mall, what is the duration of their stay, how much time they spend, and what is the typical length, how many stores basically they visit. So this actually is a second metric that we track, and we see actually changing, again, in certain demographic group from year to year.
Really? So you're seeing a change in the behavior of how they dwell time and how they
Absolutely. And there is variance depending on which part of the world you see that, definitely. In this area, we definitely see a change, and that actually is very correlated with the demographic group and the country of origin.
Very interesting. So we've talked about the big picture and about specific changes. Vic, if I can turn to you now, you have this unique background of having been a retailer through your family, but you're also a technologist, right? Let's think of the point of view of the retailer, of the business, of the shopping center, operators and owners. What can they do in the face of these changes? What do they need to do to think about, to adjust, to refocus themselves on?
So retailing is about constant reinventing yourself. No 2 seasons are the same, no 2 days are the same. Having said that, one has to move away from traditional retailing and be more data-centric, which means it's not about the gut feeling anymore, it's about data. It's about the figure and the facts, collecting the data from all different sources of touch points. Now, we're looking at retail evolving, and we're talking about offline, we're talking about online. Now, these are various touch points that a retailer needs to have in place. After having these touch points implemented, it has to be seamlessly integrated for the consumers to interact with the retailer. Now, the key is what Nick said, is collecting those data and making sense of it. Collecting data on how long have they spent online, what are they looking for, what is the age group, what time are they going online, how much of that traffic is coming in store.
Mm-hmm.
What we look at in this particular region is that when we set up an e-commerce, we generally put a revenue generation or revenue value on that. That's probably not what would be a sensible thing for any retailers in this region to do. It's a touch point that will attract consumers to come in to your physical store. And once they're in there, it's about creating the customer experience based on the data that you have collected over the period of time, and see how we can make it an experience for them to come back again and talk to
You
their...
hear that? Customer experience is king, right? So and queen also. So we have to think about what we can do to engage them better, right? And drive their...
Just creating a wow experience. And it's not easy task, because today, when we talk about retailing, everyone here is probably thinking about millennials. What are we doing for the next generation? They are our customers. They are the ones who are going to be our consumers. What are their mindsets? How do they think? How do they shop? We have e-commerce presence, but at the same time, we're coming out with 53 new malls from now into 2020. Now, we've got to make sure that that investment is also going to bring some value to the retailers. So it's about planning the future. It's reinventing every single day.
Very smart, very thoughtful. Ludmila, now let's shift over a little bit. We have an expert here who knows the legal issues and challenges. May I turn it over to you for some comments?
Sure. Well, unsurprising this, when we're talking about the big data, from the legal perspective, the biggest challenge is privacy and the issue of privacy. The issue of privacy in particular is even more important in a region like the UAE and just the Arab world in general. And this is because historically, the privacy, the right of privacy is very zealously guarded in this region. And the law and the legal framework, therefore, are very much based on preservation and protecting the right to privacy. Obviously, when we're talking about big data, and as my co-panelists have mentioned, we're talking about tracking data, collecting data, using data. This is data that belongs to someone else. This is data, obviously, that is not necessarily owned by the companies that are collecting and using the data and putting the results of the data into practice. So from a legal perspective, what does it mean in the UAE? Is that behavior and are those practices legal? And if not, under what laws they would fall, and what the ramifications are of potentially using data that is private data of someone else.
And there's a lot of gray area in this, right? There's a lot of grayness.
Well, it depends, as lawyers often say, but I will tell you there are specific laws in the UAE right now to address that very point. So for example, there is the UAE cyber law that was recently amended in 2012, and amended in 2016, and that cyber law that, for example, touches or criminalizes, and we're talking about cyber law that has penalties, not only civil penalties, i.e. monetary fines, but also criminal sanctions, i.e. imprisonment. And acts such as recording, intercepting, transmitting, disclosing, transferring data, private data of someone else, is in fact illegal in the UAE. Now, some provisions of the law have an element of consent. In other words, if the customer consent to provide, let's say, a Wi-Fi provider collecting that data, then that consent obviously exempts them from any sort of liability. Other provisions in the law do not necessarily have consent as an element. And then also, even if consent is an element, there is much debate about what's the scope of the consent. What can you really do with the data? When you've consented for someone to use your data, did you sell the data to them, or did you only give the license for them to use that data in a limited capacity?
As we were speaking about, this then imposes a fiduciary responsibility on the holder of the data, right, in terms of maintaining it. And also it means that there's a policy implication, right? It's not just operating the business, but once you're accessing this as a policy implication.
Absolutely, and I think the other challenge that we're facing here is we don't really understand what happens to our data once we've clicked that yes, I consent. Who holds that data, and what that entity does with that data? Do they pass it on to someone else? And are those policies and regulations and terms and conditions we've consented pass on to them? Or does that take a different form?
Let's switch then now into a little bit. So we've covered the mega trends, what the businesses have to do, and also what the policy implications are in a broader sense. If we look at big data, right, and how it can benefit businesses and how they can use it. I mean, there is a shift. By big data, we just mean a tremendous amount in terms of volume, velocity, and variety, which is so overwhelming that you can't use traditional methods anymore. But how is this more data, this greater availability, variety, and volume going to help businesses be better and go through the trying times that exist now? Mehta, would you like to?
Well, you're right. Almost a decade ago, when I was advising to banks and retailers, we were telling them to have a 360 degrees view of their customers, align their organizations accordingly. And at that time, we called that this concept CRM. Now, after a decade, we have the new notion of big data. It's not a very, very different thing. Yes, the volume of data has gone up significantly. There are different varieties of sources, and the velocity of data is so immense, and you need to take action instantly. But in the end, you are trying to solve the same problem. You want to sell more to your customers, you want to cross-sell, and you want to keep them loyal. So how can you make it happen? The good thing is that this is possible, because we solved this problem a decade ago, and we can solve it again, but you need to find solutions one by one, and first you need to define the challenges that you want to solve. Then you need to re-engineer that by leveraging your data. This is the right way to tackle all these challenges. Is it, again, doable? Yes, we can do it, but you shouldn't be trusting only on your own data, because this is just a two-dimensional view of your customers. And I don't think that at this age it will be sufficient to answer all these questions.
So what you're saying is that actually, I'm sorry if I can, you're saying that we actually, the amount of information now allows us to have a better, clearer, and broader understanding of intent from the customer perspective, right?
And to be honest with you, a decade ago, it was not a 360 view. It was just your own view of your own company.
Yeah.
But now we have the full picture of our customers, but we cannot do it on our own. We need to get together with all these social media companies, other partners, to have this complete picture. Then we will be able to see our share of wallet. Maybe we are running after the wrong customers, assuming that they have a potential to buy more, but maybe it is not the case. This is why accessing to all these external and internal data sources is very critical.
So we can say it's like sharing data and also caring for the customer.
Exactly.
Look, would you like to make a comment? You up
Yeah,
there?
of course. I'm a firm believer that big data offer a unique opportunity to enable optimizations for your business, for shopping centers, that were never possible before. And that clearly it will span three main areas. So the first area obviously is marketing, understanding your consumer from the moment they enter, what they like, what they do, and creating a more personalized experience. And that is key, addressing, of course, any challenging with respect to, let's say, footfall or anything else. So that's one very important thing that you can accomplish with big data. The second important aspect is that now, for the first time, we believe you can be extremely strategic in leasing. So you can transform your leasing processes into a data-driven business. So leasing now is going to be driven by data to understand who are the right tenants to attract, understand basically how to attract these tenants, with what data you can back up your claims that this is the right space for them or the right venue for them to lease. And then the third important thing is operations. You can streamline your operations, everything from tracking assets, offering a more personalized experience to shoppers, down to cleaning processes. So everything around to data can be clearly utilized for operations, leasing, as well as marketing.
So if you were to summarize it, then make a plan, observe, and systematize, right, and then refine in a cycle, right? Vic, would you like to?
So when you look at big data, what's big data, right? You're collecting data from all various different sources. Retailers always collected data in different forms. I remember retailing in the 80s, we would have everything manually written. Come to a point today where we are collecting data every second, and this data has been collecting terabytes. Now the challenge is, apart from all the key points that Nick and Mehta have made here, is quality data. Is how current are you keeping your database? Consumers are moving in, moving out, data are changing. How do you, the challenge is to keep it current. And then when you have a quality data, and that's when to reach out to them.
Yeah.
We are collecting a lot of data
Yeah.
on every second. What do we do with the data is the second point, but the first is how good is the data? What is this? Is this current? Is it outdated? How do I get it?
Cleansing of the data.
That's a big challenge when I look at it. And we are collecting a lot of data. And from the retailer's point of view, I would think that they probably focus more on retailing. Retail is about selling, and focus on selling. You have all of these data. Maybe outsource it to an analyst to make sense of it. Partnerships. I mean, collaborations are the key here. Get it to the qualified people to make sense of this data and make sure that you're getting at least certain accuracy, certain percentage accurate of data in there.
So the way I think of big data in a simple way, I try to simplify it because I'm not that smart, I can't figure out all the stuff, is that if you're standing in the middle of a river and the river is the data going through, you cannot freeze it and say, I'm going to analyze this and figure out the model of where the fish is that I'm going to catch. I have to make an experiment and say, I'm going to stand here, try to fish here, see if it works. If not, I move, right? So this is very interesting, and we talked earlier about policy implications and so on. Perhaps we could move into some summarizing of some key things. We have executives here who are going to go back and tell their teams what to do or what direction to explore. Perhaps, Ludmila, with you starting off, you could give us a 1-minute summary of some key takeaways or some things that you would guide them or suggest that they could follow up on.
From a legal perspective, due diligence. Understand the lay of the land, and that is the legal framework in which you operate. And that is for retailers, for companies, before collecting data or while collecting data and using the data, understand the legal background of the environment in which you operate. Also, accept the fact that just because certain practices might have been allowed up until this point, it doesn't mean necessarily those practices are legally sanctioned or legally allowed. It could be just that the authorities have not yet acted on those practices and have not enforced the laws. That's one. And two is, just as we're talking about using the word revolution in the retail sector, the technology is changing rapidly, and therefore the laws always sort of follow suit, and the laws are evolving rapidly as well. And in this jurisdiction in particular, in the last 10 years or so, we have seen a lot of new laws being implemented. So we should expect more new laws being implemented to address these very issues we're talking about today. So be vigilant, be agile, and remember the competition is always just a few steps away.
Thank you. Vic, would you like to take
So,
a minute?
I mean, I've covered up the key points. Be more data-centric, rather than being going on gut. Collect the data, analyze it, and operate on those data points. Create the most important touch points in the path to purchase journey of a consumer. Understand those touch points and see how each of those touch points are, getting you the results that you need to. And the most important is your retailers focus on the core business. Think about OPEX than CAPEX. Instead of buying a technology which becomes a legacy system after 6 months or a year, it would be a good idea to lease it and have a professional team take care of it instead of having an army of analysts and IT people, because that's not your core business. That's an overhead from a retailing point of view. And it's a common practice happening in most of the world, in North America and other places. So that would help you to focus on your business. At the same time, keep up with the new technology that comes in and take advantage of it, whether you're not buying it, you're leasing it. So think about OPEX and CAPEX.
That's a very important point. Sharing and building a stronger team, if you will, right? Please go ahead.
So again, I want to reiterate the fact that big data can definitely drive or transform a very fundamental shift for a business to become completely data-driven. So lots of processes that traditionally have not been utilizing data can now for the first time be optimized in order basically to increase margins and basically give you, in the end of the day, better revenue.
I see. Thank you. And
Well, a
Martin?
couple of recommendations. Don't focus on technology. Instead of that, focus on the questions that you want to solve. Second, start with the basics. Know who your customers are. And last but not the least, don't try to answer all questions on your own. Be open to partnerships. Be open to paying for the data. This will make life much more easier for you.
Very, very good point. So in sum, if I can absorb from all of that, is that there's no silver bullet, right? There's no one solution or one problem. So don't worry about trying to find the silver bullet. Experiment, right? Second, be selective. You have 50 things to do, 500 things to do. Don't load up more items. Reduce it and focus on the most important things that you can instruct your team to do. And third, I think we would all agree, keep the customer at the heart of all your decisions. The things you do need to be accretive to customer satisfaction. They also need to be accretive to your bottom line, but you must keep the customer at the heart of your decisions. I want to thank the panelists for their wonderful contribution and their intelligence. Thank you so much. Okay. And to you, the members of the audience, thank you for being such a wonderful audience. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed, and thank you, Shah, for your excellent moderation of that panel. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to go and take your seats, enjoy a glass of water. I'm sure you need it after that. Now, very quickly, we got some important announcements and developments at both the International Council of Shopping Centres and the Middle East Council of Shopping Centres. And to tell you about something exciting that's going to be happening in Jeddah next year, I'm going to welcome back on stage our host today, David McAdam. David.
Richard, thanks very much. It's a great opportunity for us to announce at this session of the Recon Conference, our friends in Saudi are wanting to host, and we want to host with them, co-host, a Recon Forum in Jeddah in the first couple of weeks of May. So we'll get more details to you as we get closer. But what we're going to be doing today is signing an MOU and having a photo op, because this will be the first time we'll be having a Recon Forum outside of Dubai. So thank you. Please welcome these people to the stage.
First of all, I would like to welcome everybody. As you are aware that we spent almost a year discussion with Jeddah Chamber and the board here to host a Recon Forum in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, where this is going to take place in May 2017. The whole issue is to have 2 days networkings, meetings, and small exhibition also with all the retailer and developer for the shopping industry. I am very pleased with the support we get it from ICC, MCC, and we are honored that they join us today to sign this agreement. I'm pleased to announce that I tried to exercise my old skill in leasing and marketing. So by mangling quickly today morning, so I got a support of the Arabian Center to be our sponsor for that, and also Brand Plus, and also Jeddah Walk with Mr. Anas Sarafi, and more to come. And inshallah, we would like to see you all in Jeddah, May 2017. Thank you very much.
So if we could get some photographs now, please, that would be great. Thank you so much. Richard, are you in the wings there? Thank you very much, everyone. We can take our seats. Thanks very much.
Well, thanks very much indeed, and best of luck with that forum in Jeddah in May of 2017. Now, one of the most important things that the Council does, regionally and globally, is certification, and there are some really interesting developments in that field, particularly, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, when it comes to Arabization. To tell us a little bit more, it's my pleasure to welcome on stage the leasing manager at City Mall, Sama Aku, and also the board president for the Middle East Council of Shopping Centres, Shane Eldstrom. If you can join us, please, on stage, Sama and also Shane.
Hopefully this mic works. This is a very special session for us. It's been many years in the making, and it's the only session that we're actually going to do in Arabic and in English. So let me start off by saying ahlan wa sahlan.
Welcome, guests.
That's right, I'm going to do the Arabic part. So since their inception nearly 50 years ago, ICSC professional certifications have given special recognition to those who demonstrate the highest level of competency in their field.
منذ إنشاء المجلس العالمي لمراكز التسوق منذ نحو 50 عاماً، تعطي ال ICSC تقدير مميز للذين يظهرون مستوى عالي من المهنية والكفاءة في مجال اختصاصهم.
Today, ICSC proudly sponsors 6 credentials which represent comprehensive knowledge of all aspects of the retail real estate industry.
تعطي ال ICSC 6 اعتمادات ضمن مختلف مجالات مراكز التسوق.
Each credential focuses on different aspects of retail real estate, allowing professionals to select the credentials that best fit their specialty and thereby demonstrate their strength.
يمكنك اختيار الاعتماد الذي يناسبك حسب اختصاصك وتوجهك المهني.
Certified Shopping Center Manager is ICSC's first credential. It was established in 1963 for professionals who are responsible for different aspects of shopping center management.
CSM هو مدير مركز تسوق معتمد، وقد أنشئ هذا الاعتماد في العام 1963 وكان أول اعتماد لدى المجلس العالمي لمراكز التسوق.
ICSC established the CMD, the Certified Marketing Director credential, in 1981 to advance high professional standards in shopping center marketing worldwide.
CMD هو مدير التسويق والترويج المعتمد، وقد أنشئ هذا الاعتماد لتحسين وتدعيم المهنة في مجال التسويق والترويج لمراكز التسوق.
The composition of the leasing specialist exam is guided by extensive industry research into the knowledge, skills, and experience needed for a qualifying candidate to hold the CLS designation.
CLS هو أخصائي الإيجارات المعتمد، وقد تم استحداث هذا الاعتماد من خلال كثير من البحث في مجالات المعرفة والخبرة والمهارات.
The composition of the development, design, and construction exam resulted from extensive industry research into the knowledge, skills, and experience needed for professionals to perform their jobs successfully.
CDP هو أخصائي التطوير والتصميم المعتمد، وقد تم إنشاء هذا الاعتماد نظراً للبحث في مجال المعرفة والخبرة والمهارات الذي يحتاجها لهذا الاعتماد.
The CRX Executive Leadership Certification is a relatively new designation designed to establish the highest levels of competency and recognize retail real estate professionals who demonstrate the knowledge and judgment essential to leading organizations within the retail real estate industry. CRX program is geared towards current and aspiring retail real estate executives, such as directors, vice presidents, managing directors, CEOs, who have a vested interest in the full scope of retail real estate and are dedicated to advancing their personal professional development in the industry. The CRX designation requires a minimum of 8 years of qualifying industry experience within the past 10 years.
CRX هو مدير العقارات المتخصصة تجارة التجزئة المعتمد. وهذا الاعتماد هو أحدث اعتماد للمجلس العالمي لمراكز التسوق، وقد استحدث هذا الاعتماد لجميع المدراء والمتخصصين في مجال عقارات التجزئة، وهذا الاعتماد يحتاج إلى 8 سنوات من الخبرة.
The specialty leasing designation is recommended for seasoned leasing specialty leasing managers seeking to refresh their core skills and gain new ideas, and shopping center management professionals seeking a deeper understanding of specialty leasing.
A specialty leasing designation هو الاعتماد لمتخصصي الإيجارات القصيرة والمتخصصة.
I feel a little bit like Donald Trump lurking behind here, but nonetheless, we go on. So we were going to do a little bit more on this today. We're a little short on time, so what we're going to encourage everybody to do, first off, I'd like to ask anybody who holds a certification, if you can please stand up. If you're a CSM, a CLS, a CMD, a CRX, please stand up and show yourselves. Anybody that would like more information on certifying themselves through ICSC, I would encourage you to seek out these individuals. They are our ambassadors. I'd also like to encourage you to join us this afternoon, where Samar and Greg Vogt from Gulf Related will actually be giving a more in-depth session on the special leasing program and allowing you to see some sample questions and understand the path to take to get certified. Well, okay, so I mentioned at the beginning of this that this was a very special session, many years in the making, and that it was done in Arabic and English for a very, very important reason. We are very, very excited with ICSC's support. We are now able to offer the CLS and the CSM exam in Arabic.
نود أن نشكر المجلس العالمي للتسوق، ونود أن نشكرهم على جميع الأشياء التي قدموها لنا من أجل أن يكون لنا امتحان الCLS والCSM بالعربي. وشكرا.
Thank you very much. There's a video that comes up.
Sorry, Shane?
It's supposed to be a 10-second video, 2-minute video.
Oh, fantastic. Can we play the video now? We're having a bit of a technical problem with the video. Are we going to solve it in the next few seconds, or should we save the video till after lunch? Here we go.
ICSC certifications stand for knowledge, professionalism, and integrity, and are a proven way to set you apart from the rest.
I think if individuals want to really stand apart from others in the organization that they may work with and for, or just industry colleagues, the way that you really separate yourself is by having a credential.
Being certified demonstrates commitment to the highest level of professional achievement within the shopping center industry.
There's a respect in the industry with ICSC people and people that have the designation.
Not only through the networking and seeking my certification, it has given me relationships that I've been able to lean upon.
Certification enhances professional growth through continued learning, resulting in a broader knowledge base and expanded skill set.
We can't learn everything we're doing in this business just by the mere fact of our day-to-day activities. So the certification process forces you to learn things that you may not otherwise be exposed to.
I chose to become ICSC certified really to help round out my overall experience within the industry.
Whether you're a seasoned expert or just starting out, show your colleagues and employer that you have the mastery, techniques, and ability to be among the best at what you do.
The Middle East shopping center industry is becoming increasingly competitive, and being a CSM and CLS have exposed me to new facets of the industry and a huge professional network, elevating my knowledge and career progression.
The more you understand the industry, the more value you create for your clients, for your company, for the people that you're working with doing business with.
Don't fear the competition, be the competition.
One piece of advice that I could give someone that's thinking about getting certified is to not think, but to act. They won't regret it.
Take the time, don't be intimidated, do not be afraid, invest in your career, invest in your future.
The industry has established benchmarks or standards with which you are recognized for your expertise. Unless you're being cavalier about it, why wouldn't you aspire to reach those levels?
If you're serious about your career, if you're serious about continuing to grow as a professional, it's the only path to take.
Learn more about ICSC certifications today.
And I'm sure Shane, Samar, and others will be happy to give you more information about that if you're interested. Now, finally, this is important and this is significant. Before we break for lunch, one of the most important things that the council does is the foundation, and in particular the foundation scholarship. So please join me in welcoming on stage to tell us a little bit about this and to make an important announcement. Once again, welcome back the President and CEO of the ICSC, Tom McGee. Tom, join us, please.
Thank you, Richard. I am delighted to be here to represent the foundation today at Recon MENA and the award ceremony. This is very, very exciting. Just to give you a little bit of perspective about the foundation, it is ICSC's philanthropic arm and is dedicated to advancing education and developing a new class of highly skilled industry leaders and to promoting altruistic community outreach by recognizing initiatives that put communities first. One of ICSC's most far-reaching programs is the John T. Reardon Professional Education Scholarships. These scholarships offer a week of rigorous study where attendees deepen their knowledge of retail real estate, learn from experts, share ideas, and identify successful strategies with colleagues from around the world. It also includes an all-expense-paid trip to a regional Recon conference. We receive hundreds of applications from all over the world for just 20 scholarship spots. I'm delighted to announce that one of the recipients is here today. Please join me in congratulating the first recipient from India, Ms. Rima Pradhan, Marketing Vice President at Viviana Malls in India.
Many congratulations to Rima, and thanks very much indeed, Tom. So, very quickly, let me tell you what's coming up this afternoon. We've got a panel discussion starting at 14:30, 2:30, just under an hour from now. Global expansion. It's not for the faint-hearted. We've got some people up here. I'm going to be moderating it, talking about the successes and some of the failures when it comes to global expansion and the do's and don'ts, how to get it right. I'm really looking forward to that one. Then a little bit later on, we've got, of course, the annual general meeting, and I know there is some work going on with regards to studying for that certification process. So lots happening later on this afternoon. Right now, though, lunch is served, and I'm sure we've all deserved a hearty luncheon. It's here in the hotel. It's at a restaurant or a venue called Number 5 Terrace. In practice, there are two ways to get there, okay? You can take the stairs by walking into the hotel lobby over there and walking to the mezzanine area. There'll be people who'll tell you exactly where to go, members of the hotel staff, or there are some elevators just outside here. If you press level P, I'm reliably informed that that will take you to luncheon. Thank you very much indeed for all your enthusiasm and attention this morning. We'll see you back here in about 50 minutes' time for that panel discussion on global expansion. Bon appétit.
Welcome to the land of the pharaohs and pyramids. Welcome to Egypt, the 30th largest country in the world by total area. Egypt boasts a high market potential and its retail environment is up for a transformation over the coming decade to become all more formalized. The country has seen increased levels of foreign investments in the retail real estate sector. For example, the organized supermarket and hypermarket segments are currently witnessing high levels of foreign investments. Moreover, existing prime shopping malls offer an experience modeled on international retailing standards and are operating between 80% to full occupancy. An additional supply of 600,000 square meters GLA is scheduled to be on the market over the next 5 years, provided construction timelines are met. The retail market is currently undersupplied by approximately 1.3 square meters GLA. Currently, the shift is towards convenience and value brands, with the luxury retail sector being negatively impacted. However, this is a temporary situation and is expected to come to balance. Given the strong demand fundamentals in the market, there remains a huge interest from foreign retailers due to the Egyptian market's long-term potential. A number of international brands, retail franchise operators, and mall developers are now targeting this market. In the heart of the Middle East lies Jordan. It's a land of history with its unique tourist attractions, advanced infrastructure, a progressive free market economy, and political stability. Jordan is a safe haven for international investment. Amman, Jordan's capital, has a contrasting yet fascinating blend of historic and modern architecture. Abdali, Amman's new downtown, facilitates a place to live, work, and entertain. The boulevard, the heart of Abdali, is a mixed-use complex combining hotel apartments as well as office and retail spaces. Abdali Mall is a modern shopping icon, boasting open-air features with an aesthetic design. Outside the new downtown area, Amman accommodates several other shopping centres, two of which are Taj Lifestyle Centre, an iconic mall introducing luxury fashion to the retail scene in Jordan, and City Mall, one of the first malls in Amman highlighted as the city's favourite. Aqaba, the seaside area of Jordan, boasts 3 mega projects, including Masa Sayed, Saraya, a modern development with a unique design and cultural authenticity, as well as Ayla, a realm of glamorous architecture with waterfront hotels and beach clubs, as well as Jordan's first 18-hole golf course. With more than 450,000 square meters of existing mall retail spaces in Amman and 70,000 square meters of upcoming retail spaces in Aqaba, Jordan is certainly drawing a new future to its economy. Known for its modern architecture, combined with its cultural heritage and antiquity, Kuwait enjoys a strong and attractive retail real estate market. Ranked 9th out of 10 in JLL's Retailer Attractiveness Index, Kuwait enjoys a young population, increasing expatriate workforce, strong purchasing power, robust growth, and franchise culture. This has led 33% of mainstream international retailers to be present in Kuwait, with 32% of international premium retailers and 36% of international luxury retailers. Although retail sales growth has slowed down recently, Kuwait's long-term outlook is safely positive, with a forecasted annual 5% growth until 2020. From the land of the alphabet, Byblos, Cedars, Gibran, and Baalbek, Lebanon boasts to the world a mix of traditions and modernity. The Lebanese love new fashion and food experiences, are brand-oriented and love to import successful international brand names. Lebanon sets a great example where social behaviour is the main component of shopping, dining and entertainment. The shopping centre and retail fabric are continuously evolving to accommodate more leisure and entertainment alongside the shopping experience all under one roof, and are integrating elements of ambience, emotion, sound and visual appeal, offering a truly entertaining environment and exceptional experiences. With the biggest focus in Beirut and Greater Beirut, malls are spreading all the way north and south, where shopping centres have become an imminent economic contributor and rejuvenator on both consumption and investment levels. With 13 existing malls covering a retail area above 350,000 square metres and at least 15 upcoming projects totalling above 500,000 square metres and worth over $1 billion, mall retail space will reach over 1 million square metres in the coming 2 years. There definitely remains room for growth. Greetings from the Sultanate of Oman, the land of the rising sun of the Middle East. The attractiveness of the country comes with its natural beauty throughout history. Salalah Mountains, Jabal Shams and the Strait of Hormuz are a few to mention. Under the vision of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said Al Said, the country is continuously investing heavily in infrastructure as the new Salalah International Airport is in operation now, while the new Muscat International Airport is in development. Moreover, a railway national development is in progress as well. With an ongoing pro-economic growth public policy through issued royal decrees and new legislations, the functionality of the retail business environment is enhancing progressively and has provided new opportunities to all retailers. The grand success shopping mall deliveries during the years of 2015 and 2016, such as the Niswa Grand Mall, Barker Grand Centre, Oman Avenues Mall and Panorama Mall are just examples of where the retail industry is heading in the country. Many other major shopping destinations have been announced in the pipeline, such as the magnificent Mall of Oman, the Palm Mall and the uniquely ship-shaped designed Liwan Al Safina. This fact confirms that the country is going to be an international destination of shopping in the next few years. So, come to Oman and participate in one of the fastest growing markets of retail in the MENA region. Qatar, a small peninsula